Welcome. So, men, women, and sports. Touchy subject there. It's going to be a touchy subject. Very touchy subject for women. Right. But let's look at a man's body. No, I'm not into men that way, all right? But let's look at a man's body that nature has made, right? He had nothing to do with it. Nature made him, right? So is the man a good runner? Yeah, he's got strong legs. He's got muscular legs, so he can run, and he hasn't got anything to impede him up the top or anything. So yeah, he's a pretty good runner. He'd have to be, right? He'd have to run away from the saber-toothed tiger or run to it to attack it, right? Can he jump? Yeah, he'd have to be able to jump past over obstacles and everything else to get away from something or to get to something or whatever. Is he a good climber? Yeah, he climbs trees. He'd have to climb trees and climb mountains or whatever to traverse something to get over or whatever. So yeah, he's so basically he's good at pretty well all sports, right? Not every sports, but pretty well all round good sports person, right? Accidentally. Nature's didn't make him for sports, but he just accidentally is. Plus the other thing is, a man is competitive, right? More competitive than a woman in sports, because men had to compete with each other for females, for land, for resources, right? And we're still doing it today. That's why men have all these games and all these things where we compete with each other. And you go out in the evening or anything, we're always competing with each other about something. And that's just the way we are. But it's camaraderie, but it's still competing in a friendly manner, but we're still competing with other men. And women don't have that. Women don't do that sort of thing in the way men do, right? So, yeah. So that's why men are better in sports, because we want to win. Really a lot, 110% we want to win. But women don't have that sort of in-depth like that. So what I'm saying is that a man's body is completely different than a woman's body, right? And that's the way nature intended, because we both have two different types of jobs to do. Right? So our bodies are very different, and our brains are very different, because we both have two specific jobs, but our bodies and brains are geared up the best way to do our jobs correctly and properly, right? Otherwise, why would you have two humans on the planet? You might as well just have one human that could get pregnant anytime they wished, one human that could do all the things that the two bodies could do, right? They could just have the one human. Why would you have two? We have two for the simple reason we're different. We're not the same. If we were the same, we'd just be one human on the planet. We wouldn't need two. That's my sense of it anyway. I'll go back to my school days for women in sports, right? Women did sports in my day, but they didn't do all the sports. They only did the sports, basically, they wanted to do, they liked, right? And that was great. But now women tell other women, oh, you must do all the sports. They don't really want to, right? We had girls who did running. We had girls who did volleyball. We had badminton, that sort of thing. They did all those sort of sports, and they enjoyed them. I mean, swimming. But running, a lot of women did running, but all the runners I remember at school, women runners, they always were flat-chested, right? I know you can strap them up, but these didn't strap them up. They just didn't have anything there. And that made sense because, let's face it, if you're running, you don't need this extra weight flopping back and forth all the time as you're running. It doesn't make you a very efficient runner, does it? So most women aren't built for running. Right? There were some girls at school that were pretty good at sports, but they always seemed to be a little bit on the masculine side, They weren't your typical female. So yeah, so nowadays just the women, we're in sports, we can do anything, we can play soccer, we can do this. No, they can't. They can't, right? And a lot of men hold back if they play against them to let them win, so that they're whatever, to appease them in some way. And then the trouble with women nowadays is that they not only have levitated themselves above man, they think they've levitated themselves above nature. And you can't levitate yourself above nature. You can't fight nature, ladies, right? You can fight men and argue with them all you want, but you cannot fight nature. And nature has not made your body for sports, right? It just hasn't. Well, I mean, some sports, obviously. I mean, there's always exceptions to the rules, guys, as well. I mean, there's some women are pretty good at sports. But majority, no, they're not into sports, and they're not that great at it. And they're not supposed to be, right? They're not supposed to be. So that's my take on that. So women, have a good time, and you play these contact sports, and you get your teeth knocked out or your nose broke. Is that what you really want, women? Is it really? I don't think so.